Hey, it's time for another edition of Living the B3 Way. Hey, thanks for joining me today. I get an awful lot of requests from my clients that they get bored. They get bored with their eating, they get bored with their meal planning. And today I wanted to take a deeper dive into something that I love to do is talk about food. And I normally talk about mindset. This is about mindset too, because when you think you're getting bored, part of what you're doing is allowing that inner critic to create the narrative that's going to allow you to cheat or be on and off. So rather than looking at what you're restricting yourself to, rather than being bored with what you're doing, let's reframe it and find how about 20 ways that we can be inventive and creative in looking at meal planning today, because it's not about being on a diet, right? It's about being intentional. It's about finding ways to eat that work for you, that's sustainable, that's enjoyable, that you look forward to instead of waking up and going, oh, I got to eat that again. We don't want that. So let's get started. One of the things that I love to tell my clients to do is to pick theme nights. That's one of my favorites. Why? Because when you go to a restaurant, you get a menu. Why do they have a menu? They have a kitchen just like you do at home. Well, they have a menu because our brains don't like to have too many choices. So the menu allows us to focus in on specifically a few things that the kitchen can get really good at cooking, and also things that they know are going to entice you. Well, it can be the same thing at home. What if you picked theme nights and you planned meals around different theme nights? Now, the most obvious one is today's Tuesday. Well, today's Wednesday, but Tuesday is Taco Tuesday, right? I love doing Taco Tuesday. But what about Monday? Monday could be soup and salad. Wednesday can be leftovers. You can also do a stir fry Friday. You know what? You make it, you decided Thursdays could be chicken night. What ends up happening is instead of thinking, well, what am I going to eat for dinner? You think about, well, what's the day of the week? And now you're a lot more focused and you feel more in control to going, okay, it's Taco Tuesday. What kind of tacos are we going to make? And then you be creative. Okay, second thing we work on, recipe swap. How many of you ever done recipe swaps with your friends or online? Hey, we can do that in the Live in the B3 Way group. Okay, I'd love to swap recipes. All of you receive my recipes, and if you're not, please let me know in the comments and reach out to me with your email, and I will make sure you get the recipes that I love, and I hope you will too. I'll send them to you every month. I send a new recipe. But I want you to trade with family, friends. Trying out new dishes makes a difference. When somebody says, oh, this meal was so good. There's one guy who I know through networking, a friend of mine, John Dinkelmeyer, and he posts the most amazing food that I go, boy, I wish I had that recipe. That's the kind of stuff you want to do. Will it always be healthy? It's not about being healthy. It's about being enjoyable, and it's about rounding your plate. What is rounding? Rounding is looking at your plate through a lens. Instead of eating from a food pyramid, what do we eat from? We eat from a plate. So what do you put on your plate? Well, fill your plate with what we call quality calories, foods that are loaded with nutrition, with the least amount of fat and sugar. Doesn't mean to eliminate it completely, but eating less processed, more quality foods that provide you with a lot of bang for the buck when it comes to calories. So a lot of nutrition per calorie. And that's an easy thing to do. Okay, let's keep moving. What would be the third thing? How about cookbooks? Cookbooks are a thing of the past. I'm sure you've got plenty of cookbooks sitting on your shelf, just like I do. Well, those recipes are just crying out to be cooked and crying out to be modified. Some of that stuff can be modified. And if you need help modifying, I love doing that too. Used to do it all the time. I would go actually to restaurants. I went to country clubs. I did big presentations. I did one with the Culinary Institute of America once, where we took recipes and we modified them so that we could find a way to eat the foods that we love and get them to taste great. Okay, because we fooled our mind into thinking, hey, That has the same mouthfeel, the same taste, the same texture. But why do I need all those calories? Okay, next. Like you are right now watching me online, there's a huge number of resources to check out. I love Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. They all have great recipes that are there and they inspire me every day. And I want them to do that for you too. But we can do the same thing. Share it in this group, the Living the B3 Way group. And if you're not in the Living the B3 Way group and you're on LinkedIn seeing this, shoot me an email or shoot me a private message and I'll get you into our group. What about, I used to do this with my wife. I haven't done it in a while. I'm going to have to talk to her about it. We did meal prep parties. We actually had parties where we would have a menu and everyone would bring something from that menu and we would put it together and cook at the house. And everybody had a great time, especially the people who said, I don't know how to cook. There are always some people who just aren't comfortable cooking. They're always making reservations. Well, guess what? They had the most fun. And you get to have a great time helping people through what their challenges are when it comes to cooking. Keep going, right? How about leftover challenges? How many times have you had leftovers, which I have a whole bunch of leftovers from yesterday in the refrigerator, and I'm trying to figure out how I can reimagine it for a dish tonight for our dinner, and I'm going to. But the idea is to create a new meal using leftovers. Next one, get in the car, go to the farmer's market, bring a haul of great food, just like you would, like you've watched restaurateurs. They show that on Netflix when they're going to the market and they only pick what's fresh. Go to the fish market, pick what's fresh. Go to the butcher, ask, hey, what do you recommend? Have fun with it and plan your meal around seasonal foods. It's springtime right now, but it could be any time of the year, and there's different foods for different seasons. Another thing that really helps me out is one pot wonders. I love my slow cooker. I've actually posted about my slow cooker being my favorite item because I can use it to cook some things, saute, it does all the good stuff, and then just put it on slow cook for the day. And it takes ordinary food and makes it taste sometimes extraordinary, sometimes not so, because I got to get the recipe down pat. No one's perfect, but the idea is that you have a machine that can really take meat that's typically tough, or meat that wouldn't be flavorful, and allow it to get infused with different spices and herbs and other flavorings over a long period of time and get it to cook so it's tender and delicious. And the same with the vegetables. I want to challenge you to think about also, it's one pot. That's all you have to do. One pot to clean, one pot to cook in. It makes a world of difference. And so you add a lot of things to it. You have fun with it. There are great cookbooks that have recipes. Plus, in my recipes, I have some one pot recipes that work great. So we talked about one pot. That includes slow cooking also, but you could do one pot wonders where it's literally on the stovetop, which my wife has done. We have a great recipe for cooking chicken, and she starts it at a very, very high temperature and then turns it over and it cooks perfectly. And as you turn it over, all the juices flow down into the chicken. I can't find a better recipe than this recipe for chicken. And I love it whenever she cooks a whole chicken. Anyone have an Instapot out there? I don't particularly have one, but I know that Instapots also have it's almost like a celebrity cooking following. Everybody loves Instapots. It's another way of cooking, one pot wonders, and you can get more flavor out of food because you're cooking under pressure, and you can cook for shorter period of times so that actually ends up providing more nutrition for the food. Here's another one for you. This one's a good one. How many times you come home and go, I have no idea what I'm going to cook. Just decide I'm going to have breakfast for dinner. Make a big frittata or an omelet. It's something that's a lot of fun to do. And everybody knows how to cook breakfast, right? Another thing that people forget about is we're in America here, but there's a whole world out there. What about learning how to cook a different cuisine? Go to Thailand or go to France or go to Brazil. Find something that's international and make it your own. Find a way to cook it. It's a lot of fun to do that. Meal delivery kits. How many of you are using things like Blue Apron? I don't want to favor one over the other. I've also tried other companies that are really great, but the bottom line is what my clients tell me, at least, and me too, is that they provide you with the recipe, they give you the ingredients, and it really helps you explore how food cooks, how food tastes, things that you normally wouldn't eat, you get exposed to, and it makes food more fun. So now let's now switch to something really practical and conventional, the freezer. Yeah, the freezer. There are times when we will cook extra food and freeze it in portions, just knowing that this will be a freezer meal going forward. Whether it's a turkey meatloaf or a chili dish, it makes it really easy to plan for in advance, especially during a busy work schedule if you have a busy night or a busy week. How about a sheet pan meal? I love cooking on a sheet pan where I can add foods over a period of time or just cook it all at once. And then I just pull out the pan, very much like the pot, and it roasts in the oven and everything tastes great. It's a great way to cook vegetables on a sheet pan with extra virgin olive oil, sprinkled with some Parmesan cheese, some salt and pepper, some garlic powder. And wow, it tastes great. Just take any vegetable. It could be broccoli, it could be cauliflower, it could be asparagus, and make sure you coat your vegetables generously. Yeah, generously with the extra virgin olive oil, understanding that when you're rounding that plate, you don't want to overdo on too much fat, but boy, it makes a difference. And then sprinkling some Parmesan cheese, some pepper, and your favorite spices. When it roasts, that roasting it removes some of the moisture and it intensifies the flavor so that when you're eating asparagus or broccoli or cauliflower, you get an amazing texture and flavor to these foods that you normally wouldn't get. And it's nutty, sometimes crunchy, and it's enjoyable because sometimes people don't like vegetables. How many of you know a family member who groans when you say, well, what vegetable you want? I rest my case. I mean, broccoli, when you steam it or you put it in the microwave, just not my favorite thing. But when you roast it, or at least stir fry it, I mean, nothing tastes better than stir fry broccoli. Oh, man. Okay. So the other thing that you can do, a couple more, right? Let's keep going. We've got 5 more to do. Pick somebody in the family and say, okay, you get to pick dinner tonight, their family favorite. And then everybody gets to cook it together. That makes it more fun. And everybody's involved. And when people are involved in the cooking process, especially your kids, it makes such a difference. The do-it-yourself night is the next one. I like do-it-yourself, like making your own pizzas. And you can use all the different pizzas that are out there. There's cauliflower pizzas, and everybody gets to design their own pizza, but you prep everything ahead of time. And then you make sure the oven is 425, nice and hot. You get that pizza stone, make sure it's in there and preheated. And now everyone can enjoy their own individual pizza. Or you make a pizza together on a big crust and you make sure that it's something that's big enough for everybody, right? And then you make a salad on the side. It's a great meal. There's game night. What if you decided to plan a meal around a game night? Finger foods, easy snacks, makes it a lot of fun. We know it's grilling season, okay? Actually, it's grilling season all the time unless there's snow on the deck for me. But grilling is such an easy thing to do, and I actually enjoy grilling. I found these magnetic lights. I had bought them a while ago. I finally found them in a drawer recently. And you know, at night when you're out grilling and it's not bright enough to see what's going on, especially if you're on the deck and the lights just don't light up where you want them to. Wow, what a difference it makes. And they're water resistant and heat resistant. These are the kinds of things that make a little difference. It was a Father's Day gift a while back, so I'm so glad I found them and I use them. Really love being able to see what I'm cooking. But when you're grilling, you can grill shrimp on the Barbie. You can grill vegetables. One of my new favorite things to do is to take a Vidalia or a sweet onion, slice it up, drizzle with olive oil, salt and pepper, and a little bit of garlic powder, and grill it on the grill. It doesn't have to be grilled completely. I also will grill romaine lettuce. Again, extra virgin olive oil, salt and pepper, and put that on the grill just till it before it wilts to get the grill marks. These are things that add a complexity and flavor to food that all of a sudden you go, I'm not bored anymore. And my son never used to get excited about salad, but now he can't wait for me to make what I call my grilled Caesar salad. And he makes his famous Caesar salad dressing. Last but not least, because nothing is boring about comfort food. If you decide to make a comfort meal, my son and I love to make his favorite dish is chicken parmesan, but I make it with eggplant and chicken. And instead of frying it, we bake it. But he loves that meal. And that becomes something he looks forward to instead of it being boring. Well, that was 20 ideas. And if you want those 20 ideas in the comments, just put in there 20 ideas. And I will reach out to you so that I can get your email and email you this list of 20 ideas to make food less boring. I hope you enjoyed that. I did. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week for another edition of Living the B3 Way. Go make it a fantastic week.